Jeff Wybo.
And so just another episode of the Cash Flow to Go show. It kind of feels good. It feels like we're kind of getting back into our rhythm. We got Adam going to be moderating the board, so make sure you say hi to Randomly Interesting in the comment section. And while we're waiting for people to jump on and start asking their real estate questions in the comment section, we'll maybe just do a little catch up.
Sure, yeah.
So we kind of got to touch upon it a little bit last week, but we just got back from LA from seeing Graham Stephan out there and all that craziness. And so we had John Kepler on last week, so we mainly really focused on John, but let's maybe catch up a little bit more about what we all saw in LA. So I don't think we really talked about the open houses Graham took us to, did we?
No. Maybe, who knows, but we'll recap because we're live, so maybe you forgot anyway. So yeah, like we went to a $45 million piece of dirt.
Yeah.
With tables, white tablecloths on it, and a food taco truck and valet parking for the dirt. So that's the kind of level of what is possible there. Basically, it was a potential to buy the lot, and you could either buy it for $45 million, or if you didn't buy it for $45 million, they were going to build on it for $90 million.
Yeah, and that was going to be the final sale price they're aiming for. $90 million for a piece of property.
30,000 square feet, maybe, they said?
Yeah, so it was going to be massive. And like they pointed across that little valley, and it was the Prince of
Qatar.
Qatar, yeah.
Basically, in the garage of this property is most likely bigger than your house. So
yeah, it was amazing. And so like $90 million sounds crazy, but then afterwards, Graham took us a tour further up the hill, and we saw what's, to the best of our knowledge, the most expensive piece of real estate in LA, at least for residential. It's a spec house that they've been building for 2 to 3 years now, and the asking price is $500 million. So literally $500 million for this spec house. It's not even like someone's guaranteed to move in.
No.
It blows my mind that someone that's going to spend $500 million wouldn't at least want to customize everything, right?
Yeah, and Graham was just saying they would just want finished products. Obviously, that buyer, right? There's going to be different people. Maybe the Prince of Qatar wants certain things, but they were just doing what they wanted. So
yeah, it was crazy. And then so also on our very first night in LA, we saw Ty Lopez. So after you're done watching this video, jump over and I got a little snippet of us just driving by the garage knowledge. So that was pretty cool.
Well, a lot of you, some of you were asking, like, is he a scammer or fake? I wouldn't say Ty's a scammer at all. I think he's a very smart businessman. He's teaching, he's leveraging like his knowledge for you to pay money to take his courses, or or listen to some of his speakers, this and that, but not like, yes, that commercial comes off a little gimmicky when you first see it on YouTube, but he knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, he's extremely good at getting people's attention and then bringing those people into a funnel. Now, what he ends up doing with them in that funnel, I haven't been in the funnel, so I can't actually comment. I can definitely understand why some people would be skittish towards going towards it. I'm not sure if he's going to have all the same heart and fact, but still going to have a lot of good general motivation principles. Like everything that I've seen of his content still seems
and then even like some of the YouTubers that are not at the Ty Lopez level, but they're trying to sell their courses or do something like that. Everybody's a little bit skeptical about them, right?
Sure, yeah. The moment you start asking for something, right, is once everyone else starts questioning your motives. So also let us know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts about Ty Lopez? Because we'd be fascinated to hear. Have you actually got any of his programs, signed up for anything? And if so, tell us what your experience was like so that you can share it with the rest of the members of our community. And so one thing that kind of sucks for those of you that aren't watching this live is that we actually have an extremely active comment section on these LiveTube videos. And so we're gonna have to figure out a way where we can screen capture it and upload it afterwards, because I really think it does a disservice, because I know there's lots of questions that get filtered in and asked just in the comment section and never even make it on the show. So definitely make sure, if you can, that you want to watch this live. But otherwise, kind of talking about YouTube news, Jeff's approaching a pretty big milestone.
Yeah, I think because of the Los Angeles trip, and I've been doing some videos here and there, usually based on just meeting you guys and listening to your questions, I'll create a video out of it. I think you kind of do similar. I'm up to 395 subscribers, so if you're not subscribed to me, after this live show, make a note. Go over to my channel, or open up a new browser.
Yeah, I was just going to say, open up another tab, and, jump over to...
see if you can get me to 400 by the end of this, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. So it's just www.youtube.com/JeffWybo. That's JEFFWYBO. So
And
just 5 more subs would really make his night.
Yeah. So, and a lot of them are Graham subs. So thank you so much. So.
Yeah, and so what Jeff is mainly doing on his channel is a lot of real estate agent oriented content. So if you're interested in becoming a real estate agent, or if you're just interested in trying to find a good real estate agent because you're an investor, I think Jeff's gonna have all kinds of great tips for you. And otherwise, you do kind of also document a little bit of what's going on with your real estate investment
real estate
journey.
agent, my journey, some advice here and there, just things that have worked for me. I'll document on YouTube. I'm gonna do similar. I'm gonna get some of my clients on that bought multifamily and interview them a bit in the future. So if you're watching and you want to be on my YouTube channel, let me know. So.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about this too. It might be interesting if you eventually started getting different real estate agents from different niches on, and you could talk to them about being like commercial real estate agent or like this type or $1 million listing type or whatever their niche is. So
exactly,
just kind of food for thought. But so otherwise, we got the Wybo limo tour that's coming up. I think we still got some spaces, so you can find that on Facebook.
It's filling up, guys. So
yeah, we're really excited by all the support and just excitement that we've got from you guys. It's fantastic.
And we'll be kicking off from this location. We have never done it from this location, and we're at 440 Wellington Street, so downtown. So afterwards, we'll hit the bars up and do whatever. No.
Well, yeah, it's a great location though for the debriefs, right? You can walk to anywhere downtown, which is awesome, and it's very close to the Old East Village, which is where a lot of my properties are. It's also extremely close to Soho, which is another up and coming market that we're constantly focused on. So
yeah, don't worry about parking because it'll be on a Sunday. So any
street
downtown street parking, you're good to go. So.
Yeah, and yeah, again, I didn't really think this through, but we could maybe even do like a pre-live show. To it, just as people come in and have them pop in, do a little shout out, and go on.
Well, yeah, we could definitely be like passing it around, having it live, whatever. If we're smart, it'd be the whole 4 hours. But yeah,
people on your data,
on my data.
But yeah, so anyways, I guess we'll check in. How are the comment sections going there, Adam?
Comments are quiet today. I feel like I'm talking to myself, but there's a few people are starting to filter in. We're at 11 likes, not really many questions yet.
All right, well, make sure you guys smash that like button. I appreciate the 11 likes we've got so far, but definitely jump in the comment section. This is your chance to pretty much talk to us one-on-one, and honestly, like, it's starting to get tougher now with the DMs on Instagram, Facebook, and emails that we can't necessarily respond to all of them, but we're making a concerted effort for this YouTube
Since
live.
We're still talking, London on Fire just had their 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, actually, that was really awesome. So we just had our 1 year anniversary just this Tuesday that passed at Palisade North. It was fantastic.
30 people.
I was going to say, I didn't do a hit count, but again, I think we went between that 30 and 40 range, which was awesome. The excitement level was as high as ever. It's definitely really cool. And the thing is, we're starting to really see some progress now with people, right? There's people that have been coming now for 12 months, and they're starting to kind of level up the people they're spending time with and starting to really focus and take control of their financial lives, which is super cool.
And so a lot of you guys too, if you're in our area and you've been wanting to meet up with me or Matt, like these are the best places for you to do it. Like for us to go meet you for coffee on a Tuesday afternoon at noon, challenging, right? Just come on out to the meetings. And we had one guy, Andrew, out the other day, and he was floored by like the amount of people that are like-minded around him, because it's hard to find people that think like you potentially in your area. So if you're it's in London, Ontario, but like if you're Woodstock, anywhere, come on in for the drive and meet us.
Yeah, and honestly, just literally come up to us and say, I've seen you on YouTube. It makes our day trust us.
A bunch, right?
Like it happened twice at the last one, which was awesome, where I literally met 2 people I'd never met before, and they knew me through YouTube.
And don't think we're used to this kind of stuff.
No. So. We enjoy every little aspect, so definitely appreciate that. And the nice thing is too, when you come out to Wybo on Fire, sometimes you're going to have a question that we're not necessarily an expert at, but we can quickly direct you to someone that is. So there's a couple people that cryptocurrency is really the new rage right now. Everyone's talking, Bitcoin's topping 10,000. Will it go to the moon and back? Who knows? But a couple people want to get my opinion on it. I don't directly invest in Bitcoin myself. I've been reading up. I definitely, I think blockchains, definitely there's a future there. Now, which blockchain cryptocurrency ends up being the final winner, I think that there's still a lot of information to kind of filter through and a lot of time before we figure out where we get there. But the cool thing was I was able to be like, oh, hey, my buddy Tim, and so shout out to Tim. who actually introduced me to a cryptocurrency meetup that I went to last week, and I was like, you know what, guys, I'm probably not the best one to ask, but Tim's right there. Go ask him all your cryptocurrency, and like, I don't know, maybe hour later, I walked by and they were still talking about cryptocurrency. So that's honestly what's amazing about London on Fire. It's just your ability to surround yourself with other intelligent, hardworking people.
And it's like you always say, you're the average of the five people you spend your time with. So.
Yeah. So what? I guess otherwise, what have you been spending your time with this week, Jeff?
Documenting my renovations at my duplex and working on my YouTube videos a bit.
And so walk us through. This was kind of like a slow burn, is what I'm going
yeah,
right?
So,
because
I owned the property for a while.
You bought the property.
Yeah.
You've owned it for.
I think I'm at now 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's in the Old North neighborhood, and so that's a neighborhood that's always been trendy, but probably it's almost settled down.
One house can be this amount of money, and this house can be $100,000 difference. So it's like a very when you do something good, you can get the value. So
yeah, and so that's mainly kind of your angle, right?
So I'm adding living space to the house, probably about 600 to 800 square feet of living space, an extra room in the basement. Like if a family ever rents it, they can the kid can just play down there, kind of thing.
Which, like, honestly, this blew my mind, and I won't say any names, but there was a real estate investor that we know that he kind of questioned the value in adding that square footage, and to me, square footage is one of the few guaranteed value adds every day of the week. You know, that, bathrooms. If you can add bedrooms without really sacrificing living space, that's great too, but if you can literally add additional square footage to a property, that's amazing. That adds so much value. The weird thing is, in Ontario, in Canada, we don't really focus on dollar per square footage, and we've talked about this a couple times.
Yeah.
So is it different?
Toronto will.
Yeah, because like it definitely isn't in London or the outlying areas, right? Like it's much more property oriented rather than looking at, oh, this is worth $100 or this is worth $200 a square foot.
Because even in Los Angeles, they could quickly determine what was worth what, right? So.
Yeah, which definitely, I guess that maybe does muddy the water a bit for property investors, but if you can,
it's also opportunity if you can explain it, right?
Yeah, and so like honestly, one of the biggest things is in a lot of these older properties in these older neighborhoods, so say a century home, at one point or another there was like a mudroom added on, or a summer kitchen, or some other sort of addition that maybe wasn't added with a lot of love and care. You know, they probably slapped it together. The construction wasn't great. But what's nice is you already have that footprint there. So if you rebuild it or just kind of upgrade the existing structure that's there, you don't have to jump through nearly as many hoops as you might otherwise if you're building a brand new addition. You're probably also going to save some cost, but at the end of the day, you're adding all kinds of potential living space.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, we got some questions coming in now. Mitt's got a question, actually. He says hi. Where is he?
So for you guys that don't remember, Mitt was he was the moderator last week here with John Kepler.
Yeah. So questions for Jeff. Jeff, outside of real estate, what are you doing to make an extra buck?
It's that YouTube channel that's not producing any dollars yet. Maybe a year from now. But I got that. I got my stocks that aren't doing very well, Mitt. What else I got? Working on obviously the Wybo limo. Trying to like build that as like almost like a business kind of. I don't know if that ever could be franchised or if like HGTV is ever going to pick that up. But like I see something there long term. Also, people pitch me all the time. Like I have to talk to you about this, but like getting pitched about maybe buying shares for not in a stock, but like a portion of a restaurant. So yeah, so there's a bit of stuff I got to talk to you off camera about. Cool. So. Yeah, it's just opportunities. And then, so I'll quickly just on the high level talk about it. Okay, if you're just buying a rental property, great, you're making that money. So maybe I'm making the same kind of money helping out with this restaurant, but I'm being introduced to bigger, better Londoners that maybe have a network even further. So like, there's no like calculation on that network, what that can. So you might do one investment. And maybe that just makes you X. And maybe you guys are just like, oh, that's all I see is like black and white, what I'm making. But you don't really know about that social factor of like shaking hands with that guy, which is opening up this many more doors over here because they're big players in the city or something like that. So yeah,
social capital is so huge, particularly if you're looking to kind of grow outside of your comfort zone, right? Yeah, and so I think like me and Jeff probably at least once a week sit down with someone that has a aggressive, crazy, interesting idea, right? So
and like that was the whole LA trip too. Like,
yeah,
we talked to people. I think we covered it last week. paying crazy amount of rent to probably Canadians, and then but they are doing way better in their business, or so the rent doesn't even seem like it's a lot of money. That just kind of blew my mind out there. So that's how I came home, kind of
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, we're always looking to potentially diversify our income streams. For myself right now, my main income stream is real estate, right? Real estate investing, that's my bread and butter. But outside of that, I do own it's growing smaller because I'm more focused on equity gains now in stock markets, but I do have still a small dividend portfolio. YouTube is a small trickle of passive income, well, not passive, but a trickle of income.
Yeah, it's a job.
And I make like maybe $5-10 a day now on a good day, so smash that like button and share on social so I can hit $10 or better. And then otherwise, I was goofing around with the Amazon affiliate links for a bit, and Amazon decided my social presence wasn't large enough, so they shut me down. But it was really weird. I got an email from them today saying they were trying to pay me for what they'd shut me down on. And I was like, okay, I'm taking this as an opening, so I'm going to be starting up my Amazon affiliate link stuff again, because why not? We've also been like in discussions about maybe creating some content that might have a paywall, so we may come to that someday. But yeah, I think just being open to opportunities is huge. I love listening to other people's their passions, their side hustles, and then seeing if there's a way that I can maybe solve some of their problems.
You have the social lab also. It's not necessarily like a paid business at the moment, but who knows what that'll lead to.
Yeah, but even that does result in some fringe benefits. Like right now we have a great partnership with Palisade. So Palisade's like a bowling, bar, restaurant, entertainment complex here in London, Ontario, 2 locations, and it's pretty cool that pretty much any Friday we can go there, hang out, do some social media posts, and so constantly looking at different ways.
Are the guys there tonight? Or?
Yeah, so actually, if you go to the Palisade North location tonight, you'll see Kellen and Peter the Hungarian Experiment hanging out, so be sure to
come say hi.
Yeah.
Probably get a free nacho out of it or something.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Well, we've got a lot of questions queuing up here now.
Awesome.
So we've got Stephen Hicks. He's tuning in from the Montreal airport. You want to know your thoughts between burring versus straight up buy and holds?
So I think for myself, recently, actually just earlier this week, I had 2 videos coming out talking about the priorities when investing in real estate. And so I think that's what it really comes down to, is figuring out what are your priorities, what are you trying to accomplish with real estate, right? If it's to grow the largest portfolio as possible, to control as many assets as possible, buying at low or no money down deals are going to be important, and that's where BRRRR investment strategy can really come into play. So in case you don't know what BRRRR is, BRRRR stands for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. And so the idea is, if you execute BRRRR properly, you can take out all the money you initially invested in, and you'll still be left with a cash flowing property. Now, on the other flip side of the coin, you can just buy that property straight up, fix it up, re-rent it out, and then not refinance it, and you're going to get more cash flow. And so, if you're focused on financial independence, retiring early, refinancing may not be the primary motive for yourself. I guess I'd be curious, Jeff, so the very first property you bought was a triplex. What was kind of the priorities on that?
Just the cash flow.
Yeah.
That was the only...
Cash flow and living for free,
living
right?
for free, yeah. I lived in one of the units, the other one's paid for it, so I knew when I moved out it would cash flow pretty much because I was living for free in the other 2 units. But it can be... If I was, that's how I started, but I didn't know much about the BRRRR at the time.
Yeah.
And different stages of your life, I'm pretty sure BRRRRing can take a lot of energy, right?
Oh yes, absolutely.
So if you're 40, 50, 60, maybe you're just buying and holding at that point. Maybe BRRRring is more of a young man's game at the time. Maybe you can do it at the older, but you see a lot of older investors are just buying and holding.
Yeah, I remember when I bought my very first income property in 2010, we were sitting down at the lawyer's office, and I was 25 at the time, and the lawyer was talking to me and my business partners and was like, "You guys are so smart, this is so awesome." He's like, "We're going to do me and Buddy, we're going to do the exact same thing as you when we're 25. We bought a rental property and we're going to buy one every year for 20 years. And by the end of the 20 years, that first one's going to be fully paid off." And he's like, then what happens is just a cascading waterfall of cash flow where you can pay down the properties fast. And that was kind of his retirement plan. It was kind of like freedom 45 is what he was aiming for. Now, he had some life changes and definitely some lifestyle inflation, so that ended up not being his primary motive anymore. But again, that's a very valid approach to real estate. And it comes down to, you know, because he was a lawyer and his business partner was a high income earner as well, they could easily qualify for mortgage after mortgage after mortgage. Where now we're starting to see a lot of difficulty if you have 5 or more mortgages in Canada to qualify for future mortgages. So again, an argument could be made if you only want to, say, own a small portfolio of properties, maybe it makes more sense to buy a couple really big properties, that are going cash flow for you. So
and like your exit strategy can change multiple times.
Yes.
Like, people have asked us on the show before, like, oh, what's your plan, your 5-year plan, your 10-year? That just seems to like change all the time. Like we always talk about.
We were literally talking about this weekend and last weekend that there's been a couple interesting opportunities that came up for myself where I've literally considered liquidating the vast majority of my real estate holdings. And that's not because that they're not good investments, and it's not because I'm sick of it, it's just that when other opportunities come up, it can be enticing. And so that's why having multiple exit strategies I really do like. And so what I like about kind of the income properties that I mainly buy and that Jeff's mainly bought is that you do have all kinds of alternatives. So, you know, when you're talking about fourplex or smaller, what's great is you have a huge buyer pool. You can begin first-time home buyers that are looking to house hack or kind of subsidize their mortgage payment. You can also find small income property owners that are looking to just add to their portfolio. You also potentially can even get into rent-to-own situations. So having multiple exit strategies, I think, is really awesome. Not sure if that answered your question, Stephen, but if not, let us know what your real estate priorities are and we'll try and better qualify our answer.
Cool. Question from Mike. Just wondering how long you guys plan on keeping properties when you're buying them. Is there a certain amount of years you plan on holding them? Is it better to get out of them before a bunch of maintenance and repairs are required?
It kind of goes into the last question a bit, but I'm always just buying for forever, right? But that can change tomorrow, right?
Have you ever sold a property?
No.
Yeah, and I've never sold a property. So definitely my time horizon has always been long, but that's not to say that it couldn't change literally at the drop of an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And I think even as like a realtor or a real estate investor, like, I would be keeping up on that maintenance. I don't think I would just allow that roof to go to crap and then you're trying to sell the property.
Well, because at the end of the day, when you go to sell that property, usually it's a lot better to have it be at the the highest best use because you're going to get the highest best price for it.
So a lot of times, like in residential, what I'll see is like the new build communities around like the 8 to 10 year mark, they go to sell, and then like, well, how old is the furnace? 8 years. How old is the roof? 8 years. And like, you know, everybody's they don't want to be the people that has to do the capital cost, right? But for an investment property, I think it's better to put a roof on before you sell it or something.
Yeah,
like that.
And I think far too many people overestimate the cost on a lot of these renovations, right? Like a new furnace doesn't have to be that expensive, particularly if all the ductwork's in place and functioning, right? Like you're literally just changing the furnace mechanism itself. Sure, the cost adds up a lot the moment you start running new duct lines and all kinds of additions, but like it's not that expensive. Same with like a new roof. A new roof doesn't have to be that cost prohibitive, particularly if you're looking to sell. I think that in general, you're going to get more bang for your buck by fixing it up and selling for top dollar versus selling in as-is condition. Because the moment we see as-is, we think we can start negotiating with you and we start getting lowball offers.
Exactly.
Cool. Question for you, Jeff. This is from John. Jeff, what are some of the tips in choosing whether to specialize in commercial or residential real estate?
Okay, well, I do more multifamily type real estate, which has been good for me. I think just pick your niche pretty much. If it's residential, commercial, whatever, just do it and run with it. Residential, I feel like you are kind of joining the rat race a bit, but commercial, there's not as many commercial realtors. So you have the opportunity to stand out easier than it is maybe just in the residential because there's people doing it great right now. So it's pretty hard. I don't know if he's day one or anything like that, but that's how I did. I did multifamily right away just because we own properties. So that's kind of how I started doing real estate. Thankfully, I wasn't corrupted to just do like open houses or anything like that, and which I still do, and I still like selling residential, but it's all because of my multifamily and all the branding I do on this side. I get residential, so you could brand yourself as the commercial guy. You're still going to get the odd residential, and it's not like realtors will like stay on your side or anything like that. So
I'm curious, Jeff. What are your thoughts? Like, does the brokerage you work for matter more in residential or commercial? And does your network matter more in residential or commercial? I bet you it
would matter more for commercial than, like, if you're working for a residential brokerage and then you're doing commercial, I think that would be difficult. But if you're commercial, brokerage and then you just shoot over to do res, I don't think that's nobody's gonna, because the public's not gonna know or care really.
Yeah, because like from my perspective, I would think it'd be very scary to day one become a commercial realtor and not either have a network or like a AAA brokerage. Like I'd be scared to just hang my shit and go anywhere. Where I think it's a lot easier to grind your way to success in residential.
Now you have to write all the tests now, right? But before you wrote the first 3, and you took the first 2, and the third one was either commercial or residential, and then you were active. So I just did residential right away because I was like, well, I'll do commercial later, because I didn't think I'd be listing like rentals in apartments or in strip malls day one or anything like that, right? Maybe somebody already has that network, so that's why you're becoming a realtor, to be a commercial realtor. So,
interesting. Yeah,
I'd stick with a niche and go with it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest way to win.
So if you can stand out in residential, go residential then. But you're battling probably 80% of the realtors out there.
At least.
Yeah.
Right, we got a question from Quentin Thomas. Is it necessary to understand the ins and outs of real estate law if you intend to invest?
I think it really depends on what your definition of real estate law is. Like, you should definitely be able to navigate a purchase and sale agreement, right? It's not that hard. Almost every single realtor can do it, so it's not that difficult, guys.
And some of us. And like then you can get into like the Landlord Tenancy Act or something like that, right? And I remember it was about a year ago. One of our guys joked, or he said to us, "Well, we've all read that, right?" And me and you're like, well, not all of it, because you can't. I don't think a lawyer knows the entire law, but they know where to find the answer, right? So
yeah, and honestly, like kind of, you know, mapping this onto my experience in accounting, right, or in taxes, you can't. There's not a single person that knows the Tax Act of Canada inside and out completely. It's a massive beast that's constantly evolving with like case law too, and the same thing is true for real estate law, whatever you kind of want that to mean. So definitely becoming familiar of, like, you know, it's one of those things where I think you could probably spend 20% of the effort and get 80% of the rewards, right? And like, as long as you have that 80% fundamental base and then a decent network of people, you can reach out. Again, you know, we do hear about these horror stories of like nightmare tenants, and they do exist. Some of us have dealt with them, some of us have dealt with versions of them, but you know, if you've done your numbers really well and if you screen appropriately, I think you can avoid lots of the big red flags.
And then even like you got questions, people in our network will put out the emails to the layer group, and you got people to ask, right? You can always find that answer, and kind of like about the accountant who doesn't know everything, and maybe a lawyer doesn't know, but they'll know where to find it. It's like, what do you call the doctor that finished last in their course, whatever?
I feel like I've heard this, but I don't know.
Doctor. Like,
True.
Right? Like, you don't have to know everything, but you're still a doctor, right? So, doctor.
Actually, that's a great point.
You know,
like you're never going to be truly an expert in real estate. Like, it's just far too broad of a topic to begin with. You can definitely become more of an expert in certain niches. Again, it really depends, right? Because you can almost spend a lifetime just learning Airbnb, to be honest. It's a constantly evolving thing, and if you're going to try and become the Airbnb expert in North America, you need to know individual jurisdiction after individual jurisdiction. So yeah, I think it's that ready, shoot, aim, right?
Yeah, I would sum it up with that, and just like know where to find the answers, because you're not usually under like the time crunch of like, what's the answer, you know? Like,
and just don't get bullied into making decisions that you're not ready to do. And like, is non-motivating as this may sound, like, it is probably better to let that questionable deal buy rather than rush into it, particularly if you're brand new to real estate investing. There's nothing wrong with going with an easy layup for your first property. I know that a lot of people watch some of my videos or watch my channel and they immediately want the absolute best deal, right?
I need the greatest
like, they literally want to buy, they want Jeff Wybo to find
the
perfect crack house.
It's like, you guys will call me and be like, hi, like, we never met, but can you find me the best deal in London and send it my way, please? Oh, okay. I'll just do all your homework for you and send it over to you, right?
Well, and the thing is, the best deal is different to everyone too, right? Like, and you don't have to go in immediately and find that property that has to be gutted back to the studs. There's nothing wrong with buying a turnkey if that fits your lifestyle better. And if you're not sure, you need to really figure out what your priorities are in real estate investing. Why are you choosing to invest in real estate? And then make sure whatever type of property you're buying kind of aligns with those goals.
Okay, we've got some more questions here. Kevin wanted to know, everyone says to compare 100 deals to find one, but is there a reason to not pull a trigger if you found a good threeplex?
So like if you haven't looked at 100 deals, but you think you found a good deal?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so just for those that maybe aren't familiar, there's a common saying in real estate, you look at 100 properties, and now what look is can actually be very different for different people too. So look could be, you maybe just analyzed it on paper and walked through it online. Maybe you physically went there and walked through 100 properties. But the adage goes, look at 100 properties, like kind of get serious or offer on 10, like negotiate on 3 and buy 1. It's kind of a very common pattern a lot of people say. That's just a rule of thumb.
Yeah, I think maybe, you find that property at your 51st one. Like, don't think of it just as like 100 in general. Like, if you found that one early, okay, well then look what else is out there. Like, save it, skip ahead, look at some more, and then circle back to it, right? So,
yeah, it sounds like he's found a triplex that's got 15% cash on cash return.
That sounds potentially enticing, and again, it really does kind of depend on the exact metrics of the deal. But if you've looked at 3 or 5 properties, and those are the only properties you've ever looked at, I would definitely recommend caution. But if you've looked at a few dozen, if you have a decent network, and if your network's telling you that it seems like a decent deal, if you're really doing your homework, there's no reason like. Property number 10 can be the perfect property. I'm trying to think, how many properties would you have looked at before you bought your triplex?
Not many.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
So, but you did.
Technically, it was 2.
Okay.
Well, the numbers made sense.
Don't prove the
but
rule.
I had a good network that coached me into that deal, and that's kind of how I did it. Right?
And so, talk to us a little bit about the network.
It was my buddy Sean, and he's out in Alberta. Was he in town at the time? But I think I was on the phone with him, and he's the only guy I listened to, and he did the spreadsheet, and he kind of helped me and walked me through this.
And he invested in real estate before.
He was already a real estate investor. He had bought in the same city I was buying in. He told me about what you get per bedroom. He told, so I was trusting him, and I've known him for a long time, so I've seen what he did in his portfolio, so it was easy to listen to him, right? So I wasn't just blindly buying that, really.
Yeah, and so for perspective, the first property I ever bought, I probably would have looked at about 15 to 20 in person, and maybe looked at about.
I don't like my realtor to do a lot of work.
And then maybe looked at 100 online, right? And you can look at a lot of properties very fast online, right? Just read the video description, look through all the photos, but look through them in depth, right? Try and build a mental map of what the layout of that property looks like. Search it on your city's website if you have building permits or rental licenses. Yeah. You can actually find out a lot of information without even technically bugging your real estate agent or having to go out in the field. You can also check it out on Google Street View and Google Satellite and all that information, which is fantastic and a great way to walk through a property without having to actually go physically view 100.
Cool. You almost answered this in a roundabout way, but Tomato Tree 015 had a question. He said, do you manage all your own properties, Jeff?
I do at the moment, but I also know who to call to go do something. So I'm taking the phone calls at the moment, which is getting annoying. Hopefully my tenants aren't watching, but
you're a dispatcher.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much, right? So, whatever it is, a problem comes in, and I know who to call to solve that problem. So I try not to go there as much anymore. I was there today dropping off blue boxes because apparently that was the end of the world. So even me, same girl that was locked out.
I was thinking that was a week ago.
Yeah,
today.
I had to go let her in at 10 o'clock at night on a Friday because her roommate had her earplugs in and wouldn't open the door. But apparently that was the landlord's problem, which...
Never mind the fact she didn't have her keys.
Yeah, she just went down to the wine store, so I was getting drunk calls being like, I can't get in, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, I was a softie and went to open the door just to get complaints that there's not enough blue boxes the next day, not even a thank you. So definitely long term, I know you're kind of trying to do more hands off, and I would like to get there. Just so... Do I need to? Not necessarily, but it'll just allow me to focus on other things and not let those distractions distract me pretty much.
And I'm not saying everyone has to do this, but I think that there's a ton of value in managing your own properties, even if it's just for a couple of years. Just because when you go to hire a property management company or when you go to outsource things, you're going to have a much better fundamental understanding of what it takes to unclog a toilet or unclog a sink or is that an electrician thing, or can that be a handyman thing when there's an electrical problem? So it's one of those things that even just a year or two of experience, hands-on management, I think will save you a lot of money long term, particularly if you're looking to grow a larger portfolio.
Cool. He also had a follow-up question. He wanted to know your thoughts, the two of your thoughts on the Grant Cardone 16 plus rule. So the 16 units, right?
So I think Grant is trying to sell more than just telling you that 16 deal. He's selling his programs, trying to get a lot of those American registered investors, or whatever they're called. What are they called? The people that have $300,000 accredited investors, right? So that's kind of what he's trying to do. So it makes sense for him to go pick a high number like 16, right? So he's selling more than just like that verbiage on the 16 units. But it makes sense in a lot of ways too, just bringing it back to us. Yeah, you want more units under one roof, right? So it's one roof and one furnace or boiler and all these houses under it. You buy a single family, it's still one furnace and one roof, right?
Yeah, so the logic there goes simply that a large multifamily property, the overhead per unit is going to be cheaper than having a whole bunch of single families with duplexes. Again, it's going to be actually extremely market specific, right? Last weekend, myself and Michael Rosehart were talking and bitching about how difficult it is to actually find good cash flowing larger multifamily properties that meet, say, Grant Cardone's metric of 16 units. It actually seems relatively difficult. Part of the reason for that difficulty though is the fact that a lot of these deals, once you get into 16 units or larger, they don't go on the MLS, right? They're private deals. You need to know someone. You need to have that network. So that can also be difficult to break into, where smaller multifamily properties are a lot easier to break into.
Because the moment, if I had a list of 16 unit property or 20, like, you're going to get all these realtors that want to go for showings and this and this, and you know they're not, you want to almost like vet them. This is why they don't hit the MLS, because they want to make sure it's the right people putting the deals together. You put it out there, it's just pissing off the tenants. It's, you know, deals fall apart. So
I think the other thing to really ask, if you're debating between that Grant Cardone, I need a 16 unit apartment building or larger, or maybe the bigger pockets method of I'm going to have 6 to a dozen properties that are all duplexes, what's your end goal? You know what I mean? Like, what's your end goal? What's your market like? Is it practical to find a 16-plex? If you're in a smaller rural market, that simply isn't going to exist. You're either going to have to change your market, or you're going to have to change your investment strategy.
Cool. We got a question from Mike, and to paraphrase would be like, you know, how do you dispute the haters? So his question is, what are your thoughts on when people around you who have not done research on real estate say discouraging things to you, like if it was easy, everyone would be doing it?
I think it just gets back to like you're the average of the 5 people you're with right now, right?
To me, the biggest question is, you know, do people make money in real estate? Like, I guess it depends. First of all, it's probably just not even worth engaging with the haters. But like, honestly, because why does it even matter selling these people, right?
It's really not even just real estate. The question.
No,
it probably happens in life.
But like, so if someone's coming at a rational problem with an emotional orientation, it's going to be extremely difficult to use facts or logic to convince them of your perspective.
Right.
So I think you really got to ask yourself, is it worth engaging in it? And I'm going to say the vast majority of the time it's not worth engaging in. But for just kind of fun's sake, I'm going to go through how I would try and approach those haters. Let's say it is someone really important to you and you really do want to get them on board. I've definitely heard that argument, that if it was so easy, everyone would be doing it. And so it comes down to, man, like, if it was so easy, everyone would take out their garbage every week. Or everyone would, like, brush, right? Like, they brush their teeth every night. Or they wouldn't develop all these unhealthy habits. A lot of things are actually pretty easy with simple practices and just getting into simple habits, but it's a matter of cultivating that. So, you know, at the same time, like, there's probably almost no excuse for people having cavities, and yet tons of people do, and it's because poor healthcare, like poor habits towards their healthcare, or whatever the case is. But anyways, I guess that's kind of off topic, but my point is that, you know, if you're going to engage with those haters, I think you just need to reframe the problem. So if they're saying that you can't make money in real estate, I think the counter argument is, well, does anyone make money in real estate? And try and get those small wins and then build upon those small wins. And so if they say no one makes money in real estate, then ask, well, does anyone make money in the stock market? Like, people make money somewhere, right? And so I think that's the thing that I always find confusing. Not everyone makes money in real estate. Not everyone makes money in the stock market. But people do. And the people that do make money in those markets, they become experts. They put in effort. And the difference, I guess, is that maybe we make real estate seem too easy, but the thing is, to us, it's something to become easily engaged in, something to really like throw yourself behind and just like get fully immersed in. And once you're fully immersed in it, once all your buddies are doing real estate, once the 5 people you spend the most time with are doing real estate, you start to live and breathe it, and it truly does become easy, and you can make money doing it. I think that that's kind of what my argument
Live
is.
show, guys. Sorry, I'm dealing with real estate deals.
So yeah, but like it is really frustrating when those haters are going to hate on you, but I think the vast majority of the time it's better just not to engage them, to be honest. At the same time, I constantly jump into my own YouTube comment section and engage trolls and try and fix the internet, and usually it just ends up with like you pulling your hair out, so.
Yeah, like some of yours, you can get like a negative likes right away in 2 seconds. You post a YouTube video. You worked very hard on that.
Literally, I had a comment yesterday that got under my skin that was like, have you read the ancient history of 2008?
What?
And they're like, real estate's a bad investment. And it's just like, so just so I'm clear, you're saying that all real estate all the time is a bad investment. And it's just like, that seems pretty crazy to me to make that argument that it's always bad. So, you know, that's a person that's acting emotionally, or they're just trying to elicit a response from you. And there's really not a lot of value in engaging with them. Because I'm a sucker, I did. But usually what ends up happening in anonymous comment sections is people will never then respond if you come back to them with a rational, logical reproach. At the end of the day, just don't get your emotions tied up in your response, because it's neither going to do you nor the hater any good.
Awesome. We have a question from Quentin Thomas again. Matt, when that tenant that destroyed your property by hitting holes in the wall, did you pay the damages? And if you did, was there any way to make him financially liable for those damages?
So this has definitely happened more than once, but I think that probably the incident you're talking or referring to is one we talked about where my student rentals. And so frequently in my student rentals, we have disrespectful tenants that will do severe damage to the property. And again, in your exact jurisdiction, the rules may be different, but what we're able to do here is we can kind of get a guarantor on our leases, and so we get their parents to be guarantors. Now, at the end of the day, if you really want to go after them and get every red penny from them, it'd be extremely difficult and very time-consuming, so usually what we end up doing is just coming to a compromise. So we may say, look, you know, your kid's done $1,400 in damage to my drywall. It takes a lot to do $1,400 in damage to my drywall, but it's happened. And listen, the drywall wasn't brand new to begin with, so how about you give us $1,000 and we're just going to move forward? Because at the end of the day, I factored into my calculations and my cash flow projections a repairs and maintenance amount, right? And student rentals are going to be very repair and maintenance intensive versus a lot of my buy and holds just in kind of quieter neighborhoods. So, you know, I will definitely always try and get the money from the tenant, but at the same time, I've seen other landlords, I think, engage way too much and take it way too personally when someone does damage to their property, and they end up spending dozens and dozens or even hundreds of hours trying to get $300 back. You know what? We can actually just go out and make $300 easier than we can get that $300 from that person.
It's usually people that only have potentially like one property, and they're, like, they're staring at it, right?
Yeah.
When you start building your portfolio, and I know with yours,
Yeah.
okay, you work at it, but you know, yeah, just keep the money rolling, right?
Yeah, like I think it really comes down to that idea of, you know, if it happens to one person, it's a tragedy. If it happens to 1,000, it's a statistic. Right. And like it's the same thing with your real estate portfolio. So I understand when you own one property that you may get very emotional when that tenant disrespects it and destroys it. But look at the bigger picture. If you're going to fight them tooth and nail to try and get that damage back, is that going to slow down your eviction process? You know, maybe there's an opportunity here to just say, listen, you move out today, give me the keys, sign this N11 today, with today's date, and we'll call it even. Often, like, something that blows people's minds, particularly when they're new to real estate investing, is that I will pay bad tenants to leave my properties, because at the end of the day, it's a cost-benefit analysis to me, you know? Like,
yeah, do you want to spend your energy for like a month battling this person over
and do you want those angry voicemails and weird calls and just like all kinds of other crazy things that go along with that. So I honestly think that you need to look at the big picture and then figure out if it's worthwhile really chasing after them. Now, if it is worthwhile to chase after them, absolutely do it. You can also, whether you want to do it, or you can maybe hire a paralegal or hire a property manager to go after them on your behalf. It's really going to come down to kind of the analysis of what your time's worth versus what you can outsource it for.
Cool. Question from Christopher. Just wondering, when you're crunching the numbers, do you use 30-year or 25-year amortization in your model to determine cash flow? And also wondering what you typically budget for interest rates in your model.
Sure. So, you know, I may be a little fast and loose, but I usually just use, depending on what my end plan is, it's usually 25-year amortization. I'm using 4% as my interest rate. You know, an argument could be made I should maybe be bumping up that 4% a hair now, since we have seen some increases in the interest rate environment in Canada. I'm still definitely got a decent buffer built in there. So that's kind of what I use.
I always like putting it higher when you're doing your spreadsheets and everything, because nobody ever gets mad at us that it's making too much money, right?
Exactly.
So, but again, the little bit of the interest rate shouldn't make or break the deal. You should really just look at the deal, not necessarily the interest rate.
Yeah, and like definitely one thing I like to do too is on my spreadsheets is kind of do like a worst case analysis, right? So what if I have to drop my rents by 20% and interest rates go to 6%? Am I break even? Am I break even on cash flow? Because if so, that's probably a storm I'm willing to weather if the upside is favorable enough.
Yeah, so I just say run it all high, run your numbers high, and if it works, then you're perfect, right? So don't you can lie to yourself on those spreadsheets.
And it's so easy to lie to yourself.
It's a great deal. Like,
yeah.
So, I know at Rain Canada they say you're supposed to. They have a form. You do it with a pencil because it's so easy on Excel or all those like. You know, easily just like, no, the vacancy rate's not this way.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't just like do it all with a pencil and then do the calculations and then figure it out. Like that's like a hard number. It seems like on the internet or on the computer you can just figure, you know, like, maintenance is probably lower. Let me just put that lower now, you know.
Yeah, like if you lie to yourself, you're hurting yourself. So.
Exactly.
Okay, we got a question from Nick. Matt, what is your big investment goal for 2018? I'd be interested to hear Jeff's as well.
Sure, yeah. So first of all, I'm just going to take this as an opportunity. Everyone smash that like button if you haven't done already, and share this on social media. I'm not sure where we're at concurrent viewers, but I'm sure we could use more. So we really do appreciate when you guys share it, because it's the only way we find new subscribers.
We're at 17 viewers, 17 likes.
Share it and just say log in now or check in now.
Yeah,
Matt and Jeff,
really
answer your questions, whatever.
And for whatever reason, Facebook seems to be the best means to share it. That's what I've noticed from the Google Analytics. But so, what's my big investment plan for 2018? Well, I think it probably makes sense to, I haven't really talked about this too much on my channel, talk about 2017's goal. And to talk about 2017's goal, I really need to talk about 2016's goal. So 2016, the goal was to get 20 units in that year. I ended up getting 25, so that was fantastic. So I surpassed that goal. So then for 2017, I set the goal of trying to acquire 40 units with a secret hope of 50 units. I haven't even done the numbers recently, but I think I've probably only got maybe 25 units this year so far, and you know, maybe there's another 8 that fall together if I buy this one portfolio of properties, but it looks like I'm probably going to miss that goal. The thing is, that was just kind of a goal to aim for. It wasn't the end all be all, because, you know, units at the end of the day isn't the best metric, and neither necessarily is cash flow, because again, you can manipulate your cash flow by putting a bigger down payment. Maybe you're chasing an ROI, but again, you could lie to yourself by deferring maintenance. So it's one of those things we were talking about earlier, that you can always lie to yourself in this business. So the reason I probably won't meet my goals for 2017 is simply the market got really hot. It got really hard to buy shit. I got more distracted with this YouTube stuff and some other little side hustle things. So 2018, I haven't actually spent a lot of time thinking about that. Off the top of my head, it would probably still be nice to acquire another dozen or 2 units. But I'm definitely looking to get into more interesting and more diversified income streams. So right now, you know, I've been investing in, you know, publicly traded equities, so buying shares, and some small cap companies. Very risky, but it's something that it makes sense based on my risk profile and my knowledge base. Outside of that, thing that I really want to do, and this isn't necessarily investment oriented, but it's a huge goal of mine, is to really build this YouTube into something even a bit more powerful. Long term, it would be amazing to be able to essentially have someone working part-time or full-time, doing a lot of the editing, doing a lot of the video descriptions, and even helping like brainstorm some content creation and like social media stuff, just because it does drain a lot of the time and effort. So, you know, there's days where it's go look at those properties or make sure I get my video out on Monday or Tuesday.
Not enough hours in the day sometimes, right?
So that's a big thing. Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's a satisfying answer, but I'll definitely think about it. That's a great question. I'll think about it more, and I'll do a video on it before the new year.
You're available to whatever 2018 is going to throw at you too, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
You never know now.
Because like at the start of this year, I wasn't planning to launch the social app, right? We weren't planning to go to California.
No.
I didn't think I had a hope in hell in 5,000 subscribers, and now it looks possible. It's going to be tight, guys, but if you guys share this on social media, there's a chance I can hit 5,000 subs before the end of this year. So yeah.
I'll be like definitely investing in my Wybo limo tour. Like that's like, I was doing it before, but now I'm like invested in it. Like it'll be
Focus
every
on
month,
building the brand, building
branding it. Got realtors working with me from my office, so that's like almost like a full-time job, sorting that out every month. Then obviously whatever real estate deals pop into our lap throughout the year. Like it's kind of like at the beginning of 2017, my broker was like, well, how are you going to get a lot of listings this year? And I said, I don't know, they're just going to come. And she hated that, and they just came. Why? Because like I'm just doing a lot of things, and things come to me. Everybody else wants to be like, well, you got to call 100 people, and then you're going to get 10 that maybe want to list their property with you, and then like 3 will. And I'm like, I'll just continue to do YouTube and Instagram and everything. And all of a sudden I get a lot of, on the one video with Graham, the Hey Jeffs, and I'll get Hey Jeffs all the time. And I'm sure you get in the same way, like, hey Matt, saw this opportunity to invest in, well, today I got like restaurants, and like tomorrow you could get weed stocks or whatever, right? Like, so. Actually,
as a sidebar, if you guys got any interesting side hustles that you want to pitch us, definitely.
Dragon's Den right here.
Hit us up. In the not the YouTube comment section, but if you even try slightly, you can find our email addresses and send us an email and let us know if there's interesting side hustles that you either need money partners or just business like partners or whatever you need. Because definitely interested in finding unique investment opportunities. Everything's still good?
Yeah, we're still good.
Awesome. But yeah, otherwise I think like we had talked about, you know, in a perfect world, everything goes to plan. We're hoping to maybe buy a 20-unit apartment building in Q1 of 2018. If we succeed on executing that, we might like rinsing and repeating it, but it's actually been very difficult to find anything that kind of meets our investment criteria. So at the same time, we're not going to force ourselves into a deal. We're not going to lie to ourselves and make a deal happen, because we got our metrics, we know what we want.
Right? So.
But you got to be open to those opportunities too. But also, love to hear in the comment section, guys, share what your goals are going to be for 2018.
Cool. All right, so we're getting pretty close. I know we had a hard stop at 6:30, right? So you got time for maybe two more questions?
Sure, yeah, guys, jump in and smash the like button if you haven't already done so. And let's just do some rapid fire questions.
And so there's like tons of people sharing, tons of people smashing.
Awesome. So really appreciate it, guys. It honestly does matter to us.
So a question from Matthew French. When you know you're competing against Toronto buyers, what strategies do you use to close the deal?
So first of all, shout out to Matthew French out of Windsor.
And he's running the Cash Flow to Go Windsor on Facebook right now.
So so if you guys are enjoying Cash Flow to Go, just as a side note, we got a whole bunch of different Facebook communities spread across southwestern Ontario and the GTA. So definitely jump on to Facebook, search us up, Cash Flow to Go Show, and find your local community and jump on there. We're really just kind of in the infancy now, but we're starting to get some traction. So there's been some cool discussions going on. Particularly the Kitchener Waterloo one's been pretty active. So shout out to Sam too for running that.
So Toronto investors.
Toronto investors.
How do you battle?
And we've dealt with this because we've been in the hot market in London. So there's a handful of options here. So there was one instance this year where I was putting a bid on a large multifamily property, and it was a private sale, so there wasn't a ton of competition going on. And I'm a relatively active member in the community. A lot of people just kind of know me in my neighborhood because I'm usually buying distressed properties, turning them around and getting them to be more stable and better for the community in general. So, I wrote up a cover letter And so this is a lot easier to do on private deals in a hot market than it is to do on a public deal in a hot market. But me and Jeff used to always do covered letters and just kind of explain the situation, explain that, you know, you can see that at one point in time, you know, this previous or the current seller cared about the property, but maybe there's deferred maintenance, maybe there's whatever the case is, and that, you know, you want to return it to its former glory. At the end of the day, find out the seller's backstory and then try and tailor your cover letter to fit into that without stretching the truth too much.
Yeah, because you're in Windsor, so maybe they do want that to be sold to somebody like you that also lives in Windsor. And they don't want the Toronto guy to just buy it and crush it. You never know.
Yeah, like that 55 to 75-year-old landlord that's been doing this for 30 plus years, that was a born and raised Windsor boy. All things being equal, he'd probably resell it to a born and raised Windsor person, right?
It just gets back to finding out the story and tailoring your approach. So.
Yeah, I think that that's the absolute best approach. Otherwise, you know, if you have a realtor that's really plugged into your market, again, they might be able to reach out to the other realtor and say, you know, listen and get more of the backstory if a cover letter's not getting through or whatever the case is. But yeah, I think cover letter's the best.
Yeah.
Cool. I think this is my last question. I got queued up, and so we've got it's 6:25 right now. So, what are your thoughts on the new mortgage rules being implemented in 2018?
So we seem to get this one every year pretty much, which is great. So thank you for the question. With anything, with these new mortgage rules, it's usually like a 90-day, so like a quarter of the year pretty much. Everybody freaks out and then we just carry on like normal. And I think this will just be another one of those things. Everybody is going to freak out in the first week of January into February, and then by April, you guys aren't even going to be asking this question on the Cash Flow to Go show. It's just going to be the new normal.
Yeah.
Mortgage brokers are going to have like their ways to like deal with it and the ways around it. Like, how many things have come in the last year? We've had every dollar over 500,000 is going to be, for owner occupied, is going to be at 10% down, and that was supposed to slow down the market.
And also the cap at $1 million for CMHC, and so we've had all sorts of regulations that have been entering the Canadian lending environment. And the idea is that you know, our government is trying to cool down the housing market. You can argue whether that's good or bad, but at the end of the day, they've been doing these baby steps all along. And let's be honest, there's no reason to think that 6 months or a year from now we might not be talking about a new type of regulation. At the end of the day, you know, we're all beholden to the lending environment, right? So we either need to adapt or die. And so, you know, if it's honestly that scary to someone, like maybe it's a great time to exit the real estate market if you're that concerned. I don't think that's going to be the end of the world. Like Jeff said, it's going to so quickly become our new normal that you're going to forget about it, and you won't even recognize it in the rear view mirror of your life. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see any major concerns over that. Honestly, what would be more scary to me is if I was in a municipality that doesn't have rental licensing, that was about to implement rental licensing. Those sorts of like the municipal level changes can be far more scary. Same with, we were talking about just briefly, I forget whether it was on the show or after the show last week with John Kepler, but talking about like how the OMB's changing, right? So the Ontario Municipal Board, and that it's now going to be much more at the local regional level, and that could be scary for developers. I think that's honestly, that's something that way too many people are ignoring. And if you're not familiar with that and you either are in developments or want to become in developments, or even like buying properties and putting additions on or trying to get them rezoned, that's something you need to really be concerned about, more so even than mortgage changes. And the thing is too, these mortgage changes are actually just impacting really traditional lenders, right? You could still go outside of the traditional lending environment and find those private hard money lenders, and they're not going to be beholden to the same rules. So.
Cool. Yes.
All right. Well, really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this show. If you haven't done so, definitely smash that like button. And if you're not watching this show live, or if you are but didn't get a chance to ask your question, jump into the comment section on this video once it's reposted and ask away. Me and Jeff always are checking the comments, and I make sure that one of us responds to every single comment that gets posted on my YouTube channel. Otherwise, we haven't checked it out, but we're really hoping Jeff hit 400 subs today. So if you haven't jumped over to Jeff Wybo's YouTube channel, it's just youtube.com/Jeff Wybo.
He's 3 more. He's close. He's
okay, he needs 3 more, guys.
3 more.
If there's 3 of you watching this right now that haven't subbed to him, just jump over, give him the sub.
Tell your younger brother sitting there.
Yeah, open up a second YouTube account, whatever it takes. We're so close. And otherwise, just really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. If you guys have ideas on how we can freshen this up or what would make it more interesting, let us know. We're open.
We got some upcoming guests that are going to be on the show.
Sure.
So
Anyone we can tease or?
No, we won't tease.
Okay.
So,
But so yeah, and well, one I think I can tease is Dan Warren wants to do this at some point, so we definitely need to get Dan
Student
out.
rental specialist.
Yeah,
Dan
so
Warren.
definitely when we get Dan Warren on, you guys are going to want to queue up all your student rental properties because he's got an amazing story.
Yeah.
And actually, I guess this is a great time. If you want to learn some of Dan's story, jump over to the On Fire podcast. And so that's just ON Fire, FIRE. That's how you spell fire. And episode 3 is with him, and you can find our podcast on YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, and iTunes. And if you're watching, give us a 5-star review. We've got a bunch, but we'd still love all the reviews, all the 5 stars. And leave us a little review, a word review. It can be gibberish, it doesn't matter, but the algorithm likes it. So yeah, anyways, thanks guys. Until next time, remember, making money is a team sport. There's more than enough money out there for us all to make it, but if you're not saving it, I mean, like, what's the point? Thanks. Bye.
Bye.